Oh my gosh, there are more things that I have to do before I go live every time, and I swear, for as many times as I've done it, sometimes it's just, ugh. Okay, so today we have a Cobalt. I'm getting stabbed with my light already. We have a Cobalt, we have the 4-door edition. These are like, kind of like the last car that we tinted. This is an amazing car to get just because they're very straightforward. The seals don't pull out of this one, but we're going to be doing 20% on all the sides and the rear. This, with the Malibus, the Impalas, that was a lot of the bread and butter of a lot of the tint shops that I work for. You get these things all the time. So I'm always happy to see something like this. So pay attention. If you're just starting, this is a great car to start on for sure. So pretty straightforward everything on this. The passenger rear or driver's rear door gave us a little bit of trouble. Little bit of trouble. Seems like it's working, but it decided to like not work for the very beginning. Not sure why. I'm gonna put a jumper on it too, just to make sure that it stays charged, and we're gonna just jump into it because I'm already running a little bit later than I'd like to. So, how y'all doing? Michael, Danny, Heidi. Nice, very nice. We're just gonna jump into it today. You used to own a coupe like this one? Yeah, I had the Pontiac G5, Pontiac G5. The 4-door one is very different from the 2-door. The 2-door one had kind of a crazy back window. Where's your plotter? It hasn't arrived yet. It is on the way, though. Oh, no! There we go. Okay, we're all set. That is, every time you start up the GoPro, it likes to put you at that screen. So you have to, like, go through a few things just to bring it to the GoPro. All right, so as far as blades go, looks like we're all set there. Got some towels, got some clay bars. Let's jump right into prepping then. And, ooh, no, like I said, we need to put this guy on here. So we don't do this with every car, but sometimes when you get cars that are just a little bit older, batteries can be low, and when you have them running for literally, you know, half the tint job, you want to give them every chance of not dying while you're in the middle of it, because that's way worse. So I think I want to say they put the battery in the trunk, but they've got the power post right here. Got my Graphtec. Oh, nice. That's sweet. Graphtecs are awesome machines. They're definitely at the higher end of the plotter spectrum. That thing will last you forever. Let's kick this up 6 amps. Can you tint the hubcaps? No, you could wrap them though. Gonna act like that was a serious question. Cool, windows are still working. That is great news. I'll leave that off. And then let's take, you might as well just spray them. Spray them with like a Plasti Dip or something. Or paint them. That'll work. So these ones, actually, they do have felt seals. I thought they were rubber seals. They're not. They're felt. So that is one extra reason to do this. What brand is the battery charger? That is a Schumacher. Nothing crazy for the battery charger. just keep it on low. And then it's got the jump feature in case you really need it. It's got a nice lower profile that you can kind of keep it in the corner with. So I never paid attention to that. And then I was just kind of keeping an eye out at other shops for a minute. And it seemed like they all had like one similar to that, like all Schumachers. So is that the trick to tint VW doors? Tape them? I used to tint them without taping them anyways, but VWs, Audis, those are just some of the tighter ones that'll give you a little bit of trouble. So it definitely can't hurt. Using a tape like this is better than using like a painter's tape because it stays thin, kind of out of your way. But it gives you every advantage. Something relatively new. There's a fair amount of people that'll tape their seals. It's something that I never put much thought into until more recently, though. So it helps. It really does help, especially when you're new. I'm gonna tilt this. I don't know if that was too far. Is that pretty good? That's pretty good. Do you order the tape online? Can't find it in my local store. No, but I would check inventories. If you go on their site, just search house wrap tape. It'll pop up. It'll tell you which stores it's available at and where it's at. Use their inventory checker. I mean, you could order it online, I'm sure, but... Man, we're not sponsored by Lowe's, but I feel at this point, I've got a couple of solid reasons to be. Oh no, somebody mentioned it. Hero 10. Yeah, that's what I woke up to this morning. I'm like... We would pay to tint in 2000. What's wrong with tinting this? Dude. I had a Pontiac G5, and let me tell you, that was my baby. I took real good care of that car. I did so many dumb things to it as well. And then before that, I had a 93 Buick Century that I put way too much money into as well. Super chat.
Jet 612 super chatted $4.99. You got the easy one. Loves these. Two-door back window is a pain for me.
You got the easy one. Love these. Two-door back window is a pain for me. The two-door one is definitely more challenging. On those, I would take out the headrests. They're annoyingly bolted in. Same thing for these ones. We don't have to take them out though. But on the those headrests, I would take them out. But yeah, that curve and that whole back window, it was it's not the most fun. But I guess when you owned one, you got real used to it. You got used to it pretty quick. Oh yeah, we turn this off. Good. Sweet. So yeah, some people ask me too if people wash their cars or anything beforehand. I don't really care. I'm so used to getting cars in so many various states, as long as there's not like glue immediately on the windows, it's fine. It's totally fine. This is a really straightforward car to tint. So they just bought this one, and we're gonna give it the best tint job that we can, which will be pretty damn good. A little bit of extra cleaning on some of the windows, especially on the inside. The matrix is massive. Yeah, on those ones, the two-door Cobalts, I would definitely use like a Dotrix or something. Because that was huge. And that was also a way to make the back window a little bit easier on you too. Because if you don't have to tint it all the way up, that's just less material that you have to shrink. How many cars have you done with roll-up windows? I think the better question is how many cars don't have roll-up windows? They all have roll-up windows. Oh yeah, and then little things like this. When we get back into like the 10s and prior, you have a lot of these tabs that come out this way. Manual, this is done with roll-up. Oh, I get what you're saying. Manual windows instead of the button windows. Most of them all have switches. He's talking about the crank. How do you know that from that? How many cars have you done with roll-up windows? That is not what comes to my mind first because they all have switches now. The crank windows, I don't see them hardly anymore. I've only done a handful, but to me they're identical to doing the ones with the switches because it's the same function. You either pull a switch or you turn a little crank. I guess the nice thing is you don't have to leave the car running. That's about it. You guys. Has your day been? It's been all right. I had a RAM from a repeat customer. Their son, it was actually when we streamed. They did the full truck, full windshield. And they brought in, the parents saw the vehicle and they loved the job on it. So then they brought their other one in. So that was pretty cool. They were really stoked. So, pretty good day. And then, I don't know, there's a GoPro. So that's always fun to look into. All right, so we got that. How wide is this? Is this the button? Oh, this is the more obnoxious cover on it, which looks cleaner, so good for them. But we got to remember that before we go to throw some film on it. I've grown up with roll-ups and power windows as the difference. Yeah, I understand. Thought it was funny. But they do the same things. It's just one does them a little bit quicker than the other. Or a little less effort. So we can wipe the outside off here. And then let's get to cutting some film. So we're going to be doing 20% on all the sides in the back. Is Glass Aid back in stock? It is. And I think it's here to stay. So we may be out of stock for a very, very brief time. More of it is almost done and ready to be shipped. So shortages will be coming to an end, thankfully. But good God, was it a long time getting to this point. Do you have any tips on getting the right amount of water for prep for dry shrinking? Not really. You just lightly missed it. You don't need to go crazy with it. Sometimes I like even this is probably a little on the heavy side. But it's like the first thing that I do before I go to tint the rest of it. So it has plenty of time to dry before I get to it. But I always go a little bit heavier with it anyways. Toyota CHR, any tricks? Not that I can think of. I don't know if I've ever touched a CHR, honestly. It's a newer one, isn't it? What size roll do you prefer? 20, 40, I'm stocking up. I'll usually go for 36 and 24. 20s will make life easier for doors. You'll have to buy them more frequently, but being that you're new, handling so I'm using a 36-inch roll, and this is why I like a 36. I'll show you. So you size it up. You don't have to do it on the car. You could pull it from a shelf. And then you cut it in half, and now you're using 18 inches of film per side instead of 20, or so double up 20, then you got 40, right? So instead of 36, you're using like 40 with the short rolls. But it is easier to put just 2 layers of a 20-inch roll on than do what I did. Because there's little things too. Like sometimes it'll be shifted, and then you'll chop it in half, and you'll put one pattern on, and it'll be a little bit short. You'll cut it in the wrong spot. So it takes some guesstimating to kind of get this down for most cars. So 20-inch rolls will definitely be a little bit easier to handle. You use a little bit more film that way. But there'll be certain, I'll always take like a 20-inch roll on trucks, for example. What's that? So is the reason the tint isn't moving right when I'm shrinking is because I didn't let it sit long enough? I guess I don't understand the question as much. So when you squeegee it, it should just lock in place. So good example coming up. When I want this film to lock in place, it should. So we size it up, we shift it around to where we want. So I'm about to roll the window down. So I don't have time to let this naturally evaporate and stick to the glass really. So I squeegee it. It was formerly just shifting around, squeegee it down, and now it shouldn't move. It should be stuck. So you can try squeegeeing harder to get it to lock in place. Maybe you have a little bit too much soap. That'll definitely keep it shifting around. You guys need to be so much more specific about your questions. We're working on doors right now. I was asking about the dry shrink prep. Oh yeah, you definitely want that to be bone dry before you put any film on that. Dry shrinking is exactly that. You're shrinking when the window is dry. It's all right. I hate going on tangents, and then it's like, no, I was talking about this completely other thing, and I'm like, ah. I think that's like 2 times I've done that today. It's gonna be one of those days. It's all good. Do you prefer dry shrinking? Yeah, that's all we ever do. I don't know why I get asked about wet shrinking very much. I don't ever do it. the only time I ever, like, you could say, like, on back windows, like truck back windows or like small windows, like you'll see me wet shrink very little, but as far as like a back window goes, I mean, I've never wet shrunk a back window while streaming. Like, except for one of those like maybes, it just doesn't happen. So I don't know. I always get questions about it. Like I'm wondering who's showing always wet shrinking that causes so many questions about it. Just stop it. Stop wet shrinking. Go dry shrink. I'm gonna have to use my other knife. Yep, I think I'm gonna have to use my other knife. Or maybe we'll get it. Maybe we just gotta go this way with it. Oh, we got it. Well, that was nice. Super! Shout out from
Arbet
Texas.
Gutierrez super chatted $4.99. Is there any special requirements to buy from Geoshield directly? Or can anyone buy from them? Shout out from Texas, yeehaw.
Yeehaw. I knew that was coming. No, there's no like real special requirements. They would like you to be some type of a tinting business, but I mean they're more than happy to supply people that are just starting out too. I always make the suggestion though, like if you're looking to just start out, then there's some more budget friendly ways to do it. But for signing up with Geo, no, you can either go to mytintstuff.com or Geoshield USA. You create a login and then you can order it that way. Or you can call and talk to them too, and they'll set you up. But yeah, there's no crazy like buy-ins or anything either. Thank you for the 5, by the way. You didn't have to super chat that, but I appreciate it. Yeehaw. As $30 a window and $50 for a back window seem legit. I don't like pricing it that way. I'd have to. So is that 3, 6, 9, 12 plus 50? It's definitely on the cheaper side. I mean, if you're not adding in the, we're gonna throw that one away. If you're not adding in the quarter windows. Probably just order some from your site. Oh, thanks. I appreciate that. But as far as like 10 for quarter windows, okay, so like for this one, for example, it'd be like 3, 6, 9, 12, 12, 40, 40. You'd be like at 190. I mean, it's definitely a little bit below where I would like to be for sure. But I don't like pricing it per window. I kind of just like to do like go by vehicle type, and but I put a lot of that in the same ballpark. So trucks, 4-door sedans, 2-door coupes, they're all the same price. They have their unique window sets, but they essentially take either a similar amount of time or a similar amount of film. And it's just like you know, I'm not splitting hairs between the differences of those. When you get into like mid-size and large SUVs, that's where I'll tack on a little bit extra. But going per window, it's just it varies so much. So like, you know, somebody could call you with like a Corvette, you know, that's where it would be even a special circumstance for me where I charge more. So it's kind of like, you know, somebody calls, they ask for a quote, and then it's pretty specific to what their vehicle is, but that pricing is pretty broad across the board. It's just, I always quote per vehicle. I need you to answer my question. All right. I had tint over tint on the front doors, and there was a crazy gap at the top. I just followed the old gap and told the customer, what would you have done? I would have let them know that it's going to look real ugly if that was the case. If they were expecting something different, then there's just, it wasn't well discussed ahead of time. So I would have tinted it the same way. I wouldn't have necessarily overlapped the underlying layer of tint. But there needs to be that understanding ahead of time that you know, if you didn't realize there was that beforehand, and then you roll it down and you're like, oh shoot, this is just gonna look wonky, then you need to let them know it's gonna look extra wonky or something like that, because it's just one of those little red flags that's gonna pop up that could create a big problem. Tinting over tint is, it's not my favorite thing anyways. It's fine for the right people, but like some people just, they think that it's a good way to save some money, and things are just going to magically turn out like a brand new tint job, and that's not the case. It's like this car, one of the first things I did was I rolled all the windows down just to double check, and then the driver's rear wasn't moving, but then it started working, so it should be fine. But if it wasn't, again, it's, you know, it's something that would have gotten brought up, like, oh hey, you know, everything was going well, and then I noticed your door's not working anymore, or whatever the case. That's something that's just very much out of the norm. So really weird gaps, yeah, it's on that list. Excellent. You're welcome. Hey! Good timing.
LKB Pythons super chatted $5. What's good, homie? It's been a minute for sure. Fist.
LKB, how you doing? Yeah, it has been. Thank you for the 5. Things have been going pretty good. Keeping busy, getting things back in stock too. Only time I tint over tint is if I do it. Crumpet and biscuits. Yeah, I don't blame you for that one. It's so I had a client. I think it was like later last year. But we did tint over tint. We might have even streamed it. And you just put a lot of those disclaimers right on the front. It's like, it's not going to have a warranty. It will save you some money. It's generally okay. I just can't give you any type of a guarantee that it will be. So they were really happy with the work after the fact, and the tint job that they had really wasn't bad. So it was a little bit older, and it was a little bit discolored, but it didn't have any like gashes or any fingers popping up or anything like that. So that was pretty good. Where is it? It'll be there.
LKB Python's super chatted
There
$2.
it is.
Best pizza topping is?
LKB with the 2. Best pizza topping. I don't know why that has me so like. I mean, there's the staples. So like pepperoni for sure. But I'm trying to remember what pizza I would usually get. It's generally like pepperoni, green peppers, onion, olives are sometimes really good on it too. And I'm not a big fan of ham. Not a big fan of pineapple either. That's a pretty controversial one. I'm just gonna go with pepperoni on that one. But I love whoever said jalapenos. Jalapenos is great. That is always like one of my must-haves. But lately, it's been sad. There's been like spice has not been settling well, so I can't do jalapenos as much anymore. I'm sad. Do you aim the heat gun at the film? Oh, that was just the comment. What? Vegeta? Oh my god. We were watching Dragon Ball Z, like no joke. We've been binging through that. It was a show I never watched, so that's great username. Do you aim the heat gun at the film as the glass or what? Can you retype it? Sorry, just retype it. Trigger the chat, pineapple. Some people really like it. I've never been like a huge fan, but we did just get a Hawaiian pizza like 2 days ago from Domino's, and that was good. Stool. We're definitely gonna razor blade this one. Clay bar. What's the clear stuff called? Carpet shield. Carpet shield. There we go. That's what the clear is called. Dragon Ball Super. No, we've been watching Dragon Ball Z. There was a show I couldn't watch when I was younger. And my wife watched a fair amount of those older anime shows. And so it was like we were looking for something to watch. And then I put it on. Or I got some episodes and we've just been binge watching it. They're 20-minute episodes. You can just like fire off a bunch of them. It's great. It's really funny. And then skipping through part of the show because of how long some of the scenes take. Somebody wanted help on a 2020 Camry. I missed it. Do you aim the gun that is on the glass when you pull, or is the film that is off the glass when you are pulling? You talking about with snap shrinking? So I aim for snap shrinking, I aim the heat gun at the film that is pulled off the glass. And you just do it towards the bottom, and all you're trying to do is create a little bit of a curl. Because like when you shrink it, that section pulls together. So when you gently, heat some in this area, you start to get this little bow here, and it pulls together here, so that's where you get that like swoop. So you lift the film off the glass, and you shrink the bottom portion of that film that's lifted off the glass. So you don't have to do like the whole entirety. It's really just like from like here to here. A little bit more sometimes on the wider side of the window because there's more curve in this area too. I always burn the film. Back off the heat gun a little bit. Just keep it moving. You won't see the film doing very much until it's like almost done. It's the same thing with pole shrinking. When you're pole shrinking, you won't even see the film doing much unless it's already like settling on the glass. But when you lay it back down, it will be flatter. You can bottom load it without shrinking too. Yeah, but then I gotta take everything apart. Oh, I'm kidding. It's all good. Camry's pretty easy to top load. Oh yeah, that is what you're saying. We made it to the live stream. Welcome. Whoa. That's a lot. Have you thought about Heelys? I wish I could be that cool. I can't be that cool. Light up Heelys would be the way to go. What helps you gauge whether or not you need to razor blade a window? Just the general state of it. If you get something that's pretty new, you'll be fine without. But like you always can do it. But when I get something and go, oh, that's a little gross, I'm gonna pull out a razor blade and use a razor blade on it. So I used to use razor blades on absolutely everything. And then when I started tinting for other companies, I then had to supply everything, and I didn't feel like buying razor blades, so I stopped using razor blades all the time. And then I learned how often you don't really need a razor blade to get good results. There's like, you'll have your cleaning regimen, right? Where you'll do like 16 things. And then you get like the perfect window. And then every time you go to tint a window, you do all that. So many steps that you can cut out and still get a really, really good result. But sometimes doing some of those little extra things help make it look that much better. But it's like a nitpicky difference. But we like the nitpicky differences here. For the most part, I wouldn't tape things. I would take a gator blade. I would scrape down a window really fast. I'd squeegee it off. And then I'd have tint on the glass. And then that was literally like window after window after window. Now we do quite a few more things. We put plastic over the door panels. We tape the sides. We use the clay bar. We use scrub pads. Like, it's really overkill. But this is a different place. This is a place where we can slow down and do some of those extra things. And then it also kind of, it'll help you guys a little bit. Like these are some extra things that you could do. if you feel like you're getting a bad result and you're not quite sure why. But if you're doing all these things and you're still getting a bad result, it's the process. It's the way you're tucking the film. It's the way you're installing it. So most of the time it's that. There isn't a whole lot you have to do to get a pretty good one. Use Matt's clay bar and everything, even the dishes. Should we have like one of those infomercials for it? Where it's like, it's an hour long and it's just like 10 million things that you can use this stuff on. The clay bar, it'll clean your bathroom. It'll clean your dog. It'll clean everything. Like the laundry list of stuff that LA is totally awesome clean. Why did you tape the seals on the side of the window? It's a newer thing. We've been doing it for, I don't know, maybe like a month now, maybe a little bit longer. It's something you can do to help get yourself a better result. So, especially when you're talking about older felt seals, they'll leave little bits. They'll start to disintegrate as you're tinning them. So, just, old, flaky, nasty pieces of crap, as you're flushing your window down, they'll start to just feed back into your tint, especially when you have a little finger. Super! So when you literally wrap the entire seal in a tape, you're just locking all that stuff in there from ever being a problem.
Frush Soft Super Chatted $5.90.
What is that?
You've ever tinted an Abarth Punto? Greetings from Austria.
Frutch. Thank you. I butchered your name, and I had it pronounced to me. Thank you for the 5. Have you ever tinted an Abarth Punto? Greetings from Austria. I haven't. I'm really sorry. There's quite a few of those international cars that I haven't touched. We just don't get them over here. So we get a lot of domestic to the U.S. We also get VW, BMW, Audi, Mercedes, and there's a handful of other ones, like very little, like Mitsubishi. We get Toyota, we get Honda, but some of those ones, like Peugeot, and yeah, see, like some of the ones I'd see on Top Gear, like we just don't get them here, hardly ever. Thank you so much for the 5, though. I appreciate that. When's the next Clubhouse talk? I think tonight, but I don't know if I have time to be there tonight. The last one took it was fun, but it was like 3 hours. I can't do that one again. Not that late. I've got my wife is with my son all day. So give her a little bit of a break and then help out. So if I'm hanging out on Clubhouse for 3 hours, it's between here and yeah, it's just too much. They should have it during working hours, but I know that would be hard for some people. But yeah, I don't have that kind of time necessarily spare at night. What's the name of the pink triangle squeegee you use? Where can I get it? Oh, those things are awesome. Those are one of my favorites. So, wait. Is it not what I thought? Oh, shit. Do I not? I thought it was going to be a trash. Is it not? Is it this thing? These are my plastic scrapers. They're on mytintstuff.com. Tint stuff. But what I thought you were asking about was these guys right here. I thought I pulled one of these out. These are tri-edge. These are also awesome. You can find these at Sun Distributing. Sun Distributing. Oh my God, come on now. Sun Distributing. There we go. Hey.
Jet 612 super chatted $1.99.
612.
Abarth Punto is the four-door Fiat in the US, right?
About Punto is the four-door Fiat in the U.S. That I'm not sure, because I know you have like the Fiat 500, and you have that version of it, which is beefed up horsepower. But as far as specifically what it is, maybe. I've never tinted the four-door version though. God, I need to add that to it. Could be though. Thank you for the 2. I'm 50% tint on Mercedes-Benz. Do you peel that or tint over? The 50%. Oh, the Mercedes, the light blue Mercedes tint. Yeah, you can tint right over it. It's they either color the glass, and then on some of them they actually put a layer of film and they laminate it, or it is just part of the laminate. But it's in between the pieces. You can tint right over that. Whatever you tint it in is going to make that blue stand out more. So you're not going to be able to take one of those cars and make it look more black. You're going to make it look more Mercedes. That color stands out, and when you put a dark background behind it, it stands out even more. Which is cool. I think it's a nice change up, but it's no fun for people that don't like it. Because then they find that out and they're like, yeah. Yikes. How do you take care of your clay bar? I don't do a very good job of it. I'll leave it sitting out on like a towel. You can rinse it off. You can put it back in the storage box, but put a couple of pieces of tint on the top and the bottom. That way it doesn't stick to the box itself. Turns out that they all stick to plastic, so no matter what containers that I tried, they all stick. All the clay bars stick to all of them. So found out that if you put a couple pieces of tint in there, it's at least better than not. For the most part, though, like you rinse them out so you can just run them under warm water for a little while, get them to soften up, and then massage all the crap out of them. They'll still discolor, but that's just because they're really clean white, and you're getting lots of like black soot basically in there. So they'll start to discolor, but they're still really functional. You can use them for a long time. But yeah, I'll leave my clay bars just literally sitting out. I don't have to seal them up or anything, and they'll still be fine. I mean, maybe if they're sitting out in like direct sunlight, but I don't know. I haven't tried that. we go. So on this back one, they give you a lot more room. On the front one, less room, but still pretty straightforward. Is that a Blue Max? It is. Where's my hybrid? I got my hybrid. I think it fell off my tool belt. I use both, though. Ever since I set up my little, like, squeegee sharpening station, it's been nice because I can use a blade for longer. There was something that... Oh, that looked like a long handle. Where did my... I think it fell on the ground somewhere. It's gotta be. Does calling Comcast and threatening to lower or to quit lower the price the same? I don't. I'd expect that you can get some deal out of it, but here's the thing with the business. They're pretty ruthless. So they have, they'll like. You're when you sign up with Comcast Business, you sign like a contract that they can like legally pursue you over. So they'll just try and, I'd assume they're just going to try and bill you for the remaining months anyways. And they'll just send it to collections because they have you on contract for it. So when you start up with them, it's not a month-to-month thing. It's like how many years? A 2, a 3, a 4-year commitment. And then what I found out was even on that contract, they need a 60-day notice that you're going to be canceling the service. So I went from one place to another, and like, so we lived in an apartment, and at the time Comcast had these crazy things going on with their internet tiers, where they had like data caps, and I'm like, I can't have a data cap. Well, in order to get rid of the data cap, I had to go to business class, and it cost more per month, but there were no data caps with it. I'm like, okay, cool. But when we left, it's like, okay, now we're just going to sign up with regular Xfinity. And they're like, okay, well, you didn't give us a 60-day notice. And I'm like, wait, what? They're like, yeah, if you're going to cancel the service, we need a 60-day notice. And then they'll bill you for those days, even if you're off contract. It's absurd. Do you ever feel like your heat gun's starting to go? When I top, I feel the shrink of the bottom isn't what it used to be, getting small fingers when snapping. Maybe? I mean, the most that I notice is not necessarily like much of a fluctuation in the heat. It's more just like it's making funny sounds, and it's just kind of like spitting little chunks of flames and whatnot. Like it's starting to go. But as far as like varying heat, I don't know. I haven't really thought about it very much. But if you think that it is, I'd just get a different one and use that one as a backup or something. Or just do a side-by-side comparison, and then you know for sure. If you were to hire somebody to tint for your company, what would be good pay or benefits? For my company, I'm not sure. My company is definitely going to be different from yours. But I know a couple of ways that I worked. Should we even do this? Yes, we should. So it depends on the type of compensation that you're getting from the company. Like, what it adds up to at the end, but for the most part, I was pretty happy off of just straight commission. But if things weren't busy, then I was pretty upset. But with commission, like I literally, what I get paid for is to do tint jobs. I don't get paid to do anything else. So if there's other stuff to do around the shop, I'm not doing it. Like if I make a mess, I should clean up that mess. But for the most part, it was like, you know, all the extra little things. I wasn't taking care of them. And then when it was like, you know, if there's no work to be done, then I'd be trying to leave early because I don't want to stand around there for free. So there's pros and cons with it. I think a good one is kind of a mix. You got hourly and you have commissions attached to it. So you get a bit of both. You're paying for people to stay there, even if it's slow, but they also have incentives to like work harder. But at the end of the day, it's hard to keep tinters happy. It's just a tough business to scale. It really is. A lot of tint shops have one reliable person, and that's and getting two is difficult. How do you know which color squeegee to use? I just used them all. Literally used them all and then figured out which ones I like the best and just used the ones that I like the best. You can tint a window with any of the color squeegees. They all have their like little strong suits, but Blue Max, Orange Crush, Flat Out, and the Hybrid. Those are ones that'll do the entire car. Do you ever plan to franchise your business? Not really. I don't know how I'd franchise it. That would be a major benefit to the person that's getting the franchise. Like there's a couple of companies that are doing something like that. Like you have Sunstoppers, and you have Tint World, and I think Sunstoppers has an interesting approach to it. I don't know how beneficial it is, but they seem to be, or at least they were, growing, I think, from like the inside out. So they were kind of dominating a more local area and then growing outwards. One of the biggest problems is just, you know, if people don't know of your tint company, then it's really hard for that franchise to be effective at all because they're not looking for the franchise. They're looking for a tint business. So like with what I thought was interesting about Sunstoppers is like they're more about helping develop the existing shop and like getting them up to speed on where they're lacking and then like helping them adopt some other services and stuff like that. And I guess you could say Tint World does the same thing, but it's just, I guess if I'm looking at like if you adopt the Detroit Tint Studio name, I'd want that to immediately start getting more business for you. I don't want to just start collecting franchise fees. And I'm just not sure how effective that would be. So, but I've never really looked into franchising that much. Maybe it would. Because like Chicago Auto Pros, they had the same type of questions. They have a pretty successful YouTube channel. And they're doing like a test pilot with a shop out of state that wants to be a Chicago Auto Pros, but they're like 2 states away. So there's also quality issues associated with that. What do you typically charge for 4 side windows and no back glass? With no back glass, I'll just charge double the price of a set of doors. It's the pricing, that's where like my pricing is not even across the board. So like if the thing is, it's like if I'm gonna block off some time for you to come in and get your front doors, and then gonna block off some time for you to get both sets of doors, and then I'm gonna block off to get your full car done. Like getting a full car done versus getting 4 doors done, like yeah, you're gonna get the 4 doors done quicker, but you still have to, like, you still have those prep steps. You're getting it in, giving it the space, you're talking to the client. It's like, it still costs some. So kind of like when you're getting it done as a package, you'll typically save a little bit more money, but just doing like 2 doors, 4 doors, they'll be just, it's not the most economical way to go, I guess. That's why I don't like charging necessarily just flat per window, I guess. Any ideas on building your own heat box? I'm not crafty. I just buy it. You can get a hell of a heat box off of Tint Depot. Oh, come on. It is just letting me down big today. Let's try it again. Tint Depot. There we go. I think their heat box is super cool. It's a nice little like tabletop heat lamp. It rotates the slide around, like you've seen in a couple of videos. That was like, I don't know, like $200. Pays for itself on the first job. It's an amazing add-on. I've seen some people have some pretty cool setups where, like, we did a similar thing at Auto Tint City. We had like a triple heat lamp demo where it was just like 3 slides in a row. And then you turn on the box and all the lamps light up, and then so you can put your hand in front of each one and just kind of go across. I really like the one that kind of rotates around too, because you leave your hand in the same spot, and then as you rotate that box around, you don't have to move it or anything. Like you can feel the difference immediately. Where like the other cool one that's super slim was like the heat box, and then it had the slides that you could interchange out of it. That one's still a really good one, but you have that little time in between pulling it off and putting the next one on. So I like the rotatey one a little bit better. But yeah, as far as making my own, I'm not crafty. I'd rather just buy it. It saves time. We're gonna buy that door panel cover. Carpet shield. There we go. It's working with some of them, not with all of them. Da-da-da. Doesn't the heat from the sun feel nice in the winter? That is a trade-off. I think that little bit of sunshine heat in the winter, it's not as, it's not very much. We have pretty gray, cloudy winters, so I'd rather have the heat rejection in the summer than a little bit of extra sun in the wintertime. I'll leave my car remote started for like 20 minutes before I start driving it anyways. It really goes for the summertime too. I'll remote start before I start driving it. When's the Apex video coming? Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I have... I gotta put it on the Blazer. Maybe next week then? I forgot. I suppose I should have done that yesterday. I could have done it yesterday. Why do people think that you can tint anywhere? Somebody just said that they're at a dealership and they had to tint in the main room because where they normally tint was taken up. Sounds about right. Because people don't know. That's one reason we have this channel. They stick to what they know. and they have all their own issues going on. Like, dealerships are just a bunch of chaotic craziness. They have so many things going on that you have no idea about, too. So it is really frustrating to go to tint for a dealership because, I mean, they've got clients that want their cars delivered. They have X amount of problems with each one of the cars that they have to address. They're getting beat up in price. Like, they're just trying to keep things moving. They've got so many things. And then you want it, and then they like, oh, I want to get my windows tinted. Okay, I got a guy to tint your windows. And then but the thing about tinting is you need a nice clean space. You need to know the shades ahead of time. You need a handful of things at least to get the job moving. And it's just more added to their plate that they forget about. And next thing you know, that's just a big headache. So yeah, they kind of understand. Some of them understand a little bit more than others, but they largely don't. Like, I've been to a couple of dealerships where they're like, okay, here are the keys. And I'm like, all right, where do you want me to tint it? And they're like, can't you just do it outside? No. Oh, I didn't know that. Yay, here we go. Now let's go try and find a space. Oh, look, it's a smaller dealership that doesn't have space for me to go take up. Like, they just don't plan for it. Super fun. Found a heatbox at Tint Depot. Haven't had a chance to use it. Oh, dude, they're so handy. I mean, unless you've just been selling a lot of carbon and ceramic already, man, it's such a nice way to illustrate the differences between them. It's just quick, it's easy, they're essential. What brand of tint do you recommend? That one. I like Geoshield. We're using their Pro Classic right now. Yeah, we gotta try that Apex. I like half forgot about it too. I've had a bunch of other things going on in the background too, so totally forgot that I've like said a couple times about Apex and then that's sitting there. I don't expect Apex is gonna be like a huge seller for me yet. We do have a 22 M3 coming in tomorrow, but I haven't put it on the Blazer, and I think that's what I want to do first. So I have to like remove the Pro Nano that's on there, and I have to do the whole thing. And when it's a little slow right now, I kind of enjoy it because it's just been working a lot. Yeah, like this one. See how we have a finger jutting out? We should have shrunk it just a little bit more. We can take care of it. Should be fine. If not, then we'll have to redo it. Had a shop near me say they use Max Pro. I know there's people that like Max Pro. I've heard iffy things. I don't know. I can't say for sure. Right off the I can't tell you for sure. That you won't have any problems down the road. I hear different things about it. That's one of the few brands. Like, there's a couple of brands that if you bring them up in like a group, they're just like, they have a small team, and then they got a lot of people that had some different experiences, some not so fun experiences. So that didn't sound good. Yeah, but I don't know about them now, so that's where I'm like, eh. Solar Shield I've never heard of, though. How do you stay busy all week? I don't. I have lately. There's just been a strong demand for window tint in general, so that's definitely carried me a lot. But yesterday, I actually had yesterday pretty open. I didn't even realize it. So those days are starting to like creep up on me, where it's like we'll have busy days, and then all of a sudden we'll have something that's just kind of open, and I didn't even realize it. You have to. I mean, you're not just going to leave an open sign on your building and stay busy. Not unless you've been in business a lot of years, and then you just have a lot of people coming in all the time. If you're a newer shop or, you know, kind of along those lines, you haven't been in business that long, you don't have a really big client base built up, you'll have pickups and you'll have slowdowns. So you kind of need to you need to be creative about your advertising. You need to kind of just always be out there. Canon. Sorry, I had to do something. I've never used carbon or ceramic till now. Something new for me after 8 years. This is why I really need a heat box display. Yes. I tinted for a lot of companies and only ever installed this film right here or films like it for a long time. And then picking up extra films, it was definitely a challenge to kind of figure out what helped, what worked. I mean, for the most part, people aren't coming in necessarily asking about carbon or ceramic films because they don't even know they exist. So when somebody's coming into your shop with a set price in mind and just kind of thinking window tint is all the same, trying to offer them something different is tough.
Daniel Rayner super chatted $4.99. Late but made it. Kumu Star Grandmaster Matt.
Daniel Rayner, welcome, sir. Thank you for the 5. I greatly appreciate it. How you doing? Grandmaster. It's like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Episode 1 or 2. Master. Where can I buy a heat box display? Oh, we're going to say it again. Tint Depot. Here you go. Tint Depot has, I think, the best heat box display out there. They've got a really clean, rotatey heat box display. It looks good, and it works really well. So I can tell you the biggest thing that made a difference, and I watched it happen, like firsthand. I tinted for a lot of shops that would only talk about tint as a tint job. How much is a tint job? Oh, it's $250. Oh, it's $300. Oh, it's $199. That's all it ever was. And then over time, having the channel and putting out more info out there about carbon and ceramic film, that was a big difference, because now you're getting people that have actually done a little research, and when you put that info out there that they can come across, it gives you every chance in the world now to install a different product, and then those starts creating different types of referrals. So that starts to build up a different type of client base altogether. That's been really cool. But also just taking the time to like mention that you have different films is a big deal too. So one thing that I'm trying to do with everybody that calls is they're like, hey, can I get a quick quote on a tint job? Well, rather than just quoting my entry film and then like they're on the phone, they're off the phone. I start asking them what films are they looking for. Like, I tell them the films that I have available, and did they have anything in mind already? Whether or not that they're receptive to getting something different, you at least like have that conversation that there is something else out there. And that's been a big help too. Anything to kind of introduce it before they walk in your door. Because then they already know. You're not just going to surprise them. You're not just going to be like, oh, hey, I know I told you that it was this much, but actually, it's this much. Like, there's none of that. If they still want whatever films that you quoted them in, like, that's all well and good. But at least give the opportunity to learn ahead of time that you have something else. Also, I've noticed that's much easier with people that are willing to book appointments than people that just walk in my door wanting tint right now. Impulsive people, man, that's a tough market. You got coupons for Tint Depot? I don't, I'm sorry. Sun Distributing had one tint stuff. They still might have that one up on the site. They probably do. It was like 10% off your first order. So, Sun Distributing. The channel used to be called Tint Stuff. So, try that coupon code. It might save you 10%. XPEL versus 3M. I'd go with whatever shop you think is better. I wouldn't I think you'll be happy with either one of the films. I'd probably lean more towards XPEL, honestly. But I don't think you'll go wrong with either one of the films. It's really more about the shop that you bring it to instead of the film that you get. Or the installer. It's really about the installer that does the job than the film that you get on the car. Because when you're on that upper level of film, the differences is like you're looking at a spec sheet. You're looking at the small differences between a meter to tell you what's better for your car, right? Well, what you'll actually see, real world difference, is very little. So like if you're getting a 700 horsepower car and 800 horsepower car, like you got to put that thing on the line and verse them head to head versus just like, okay, I'm gonna go with this one, but I know that one's probably maybe a little faster, but like, are you really gonna notice the difference? That's kind of what you're getting into with films. Does geocarbon have dye in it or no? Mine says it's not a dye-based film. Geo, I don't believe has any. It should be just straight carbon. I think they're ceramic. Their Pro Nano one, that is a dyed ceramic. But the carbon, I don't think so. I think it's just carbon. Yeah, we should have shrunk these all just a little bit more. Just a little bit, not much. But I'd go with what the spec sheet says. I forgot what it says, honestly. I know from day one, I've been very happy. Like, it's on my heat box, put it on my own car, been really happy with the look and the performance of it. It's been great. Blue Max? Yep. I got my hybrid around here somewhere. I use both. I've just been using this one a little bit more. I put it on the bench and I chopped it off. This one's kind of a funny one to use glass aid with. Where can I get tint? I'm learning. We've dropped their name a whole lot today, but Tint Depot. Tint Depot. My God. Something went wrong. Reload. Oh, that's never a good message to have. Hurrah! There goes all my messages. Canon. There we go. Blue Max Nick Easy. Yeah, they can. That's why I have the little choppy thing over there. Don't drop the shank on the green line or you'll lose it forever. It matches really nice. How does your water system work? How do you get pressure for it? That's a good question. There are lots of good questions today. I'm proud of you guys. So we have a tint keg sitting right over there. So what you guys typically see is just this bit right here. So this is a brass sprayer. It is powered by anywhere from 80 to 60 psi worth of air pressure. And it all comes from that little tank over there. So the brass sprayer hose runs to a what is called a tint keg. So tint kegs are pretty awesome. They're pressurized kegs. They come in 3-gallon or 5-gallon. They do have a smaller one, but most popular ones are either 3 or 5. That one over there is a 3-gallon. So you put about 2.5 gallons worth of water in it, and then a half-gallon of air pressure behind it. Sometimes a little bit less, but like a beer keg. Yeah, actually, that's the industry that they come from. But what's cool about the tint kegs is they upgrade some stuff. So they have here we go. They have upgraded O-rings. They have upgraded pressure release. They have upgraded hoses. They have upgraded fittings. The whole nine. They're just upgraded across the board. Where what I didn't realize, which stuff from the brewing industry is like more rated for like 10 psi. We're pumping, like, you can pump 100 psi into that thing and you'll be great. You just blast your windows for days. So they look sweet too. They do this sick wrap on them. So one of the fun little tricks I love about these things is there's an older style keg that I used to have where it had a curly hose. You used to have to drag it around the whole car, and then the thing was bolted onto the top. These are quick release. Look at that. These are not cheap. These are stainless steel pressure or quick release. So boom, boom. So you can disconnect both of them and then go fill up your keg. And then go bring it back here, plug them back in, so you don't even have to move your hoses anywhere, just the keg. So, and then you fill it up with just an air compressor. When are you gonna give it away? Ah, somebody knows. Somebody knows that I have to still do that. I was just talking to Rick about that today. They might be doing something with a Fusion giveaway. The only reason I haven't done a giveaway is, like, well, I guess I like leaving it over there on the shelf, on display. Oh, we all know. Dang. And it's like organizing a giveaway. That might sound lame, but it's like, okay, I don't want to have like a YouTube specific giveaway. Maybe I just have to make something for, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make something on the site. Because, okay, what I don't want to do is try and host a giveaway And then only people that were there that day for the live stream get to be in the giveaway. I'd like to broaden it out a little bit more. And then you have to collect, like you have to try and get in touch with them and collect their contact details and stuff like that. I want it to be really seamless. So I think maybe what we'll do is then make a giveaway and put it on the site. But I've had a little bit of time to finally be able to think about what I want to do. Just saw the hybrid on Tint Depot. It's an expensive squeegee, but man, it's a good one. It's one reason I wanted to figure out how to sharpen them, so you wouldn't just like use it a couple times and then toss it away. It doesn't nick super fast, but it can. It will eventually. Like they all kind of develop their own little nicks and stuff. So I like it though, and it's got 2 sides. We all know. All right. We'll do it. We'll do a giveaway. I'll set it on the website. Keep an eye out on the Tint Stuff website. I think I have to just make like an easy free checkout for it then. So like people can enter that way, and then, you know, if I'll do like I can do a live drawing, that's fine. And then the thing is, if you weren't watching while it's live, that's okay, because then we can just get in touch with you and then we'll ship it out to you. It's good. How much of your earnings do you declare for tax without being sketchy? Talk to your accountant. I couldn't tell you. Your accountant's the one that really should take care of all that for you if you're going to do something like that. This is a funny question. The orange and yellow crop fusion work great with the shorty handle. Yeah, the shorty handle's awesome. It's my favorite. So we're using a Blue Max in it right now, but I have in this drawer over here. No, not this drawer. This drawer. Whoa, you can see, there's my this one. We'll use this one for the rest of it. So here, we'll put down this one and we'll pick up this one. So this is the Fusion hybrid handle. I have shorty handles for pretty much all of them. I bought a Blue Max squeegee, haven't used it yet. Interesting. You'll like it, I think. They're different, but they're good. They just nick pretty fast. Should get a pre-cut machine. We are, but we're not going to be using it in all the ways that you might think we are. We're going to try it on some doors, but we're largely still going to be hand cutting doors. That'll be a fun conversation to have. They're like, you've got a pre-cutting machine. Why don't you use it all the time? It depends on how the patterns work out. I have a inkling. I think they'll be pretty good, but probably not perfect. I'm going to attempt my first back window today. I know I probably won't nail it. Anything specific I should watch out for? It's pretty long and curved. Well, that's a good time to ask about a back window, because oh my god, we're shrinking a back window. So the biggest things that you're going to want to do is prep your, like, clean your glass off, take like a bounce dryer sheet or Snuggles. We're using Snuggles right now. You wet it, you smear it all over the back window, and then you have to do this. So you're going to split your back window in half. Take your heat gun, and then you're really going to shrink. Like, the goal is to get the film to lay down evenly. So as you shrink it, it's going to start to, it's laying down to the glass, but what you're seeing is these little sideways air pockets. So that's when you can smooth the film out. All you're doing is shaping it to the glass. So you control your heat with distance. So the closer I get this, heat guns up all the way on high. The closer I get it, the faster things are going to shrink. So you just keep working up and working up. And then you get into an area like this. And then all of a sudden this is going to want to bunch together. And this is where you're going to have all your problems. In those situations, you can pinch the corner. Just lightly lift it off the glass. And then you start shrinking a wider area here. So you're not necessarily just shrinking focused at one particular spot. You're trying to evenly shrink the whole thing, but there's peaks and valleys. So it's a lot like this. So when you pull your film towards the edge, you're just getting it to lift and smooth out so you can get that heat to warm up a wider portion of the film than just shrinking all the peaks. But we do have a lot of videos with shrinking, or like we have a lot of dedicated videos for shrinking. So just watch as many as you can. And yeah, you're probably gonna mess up, but that's okay. Every time you do it, you'll get a little better. So if it creases, you need to shrink it more. The reason it creases is you're pressing the material down too fast. So it's all bunched up, and you're basically trying to smush it all down when it hasn't been flattened out. So you need to see those little sideways lines there. That's kind of when that's telling you it's mostly ready to be pushed down. That's when it's been smoothed out. So, see, it's all kind of like lightly wavy in here. I don't have any big swings or, anyways, when I go to press all this down, like smooth it out, when I'm sweeping the air out of it, look, it's all laying down, cool. Now the only parts that are still kind of like peaked up on me are right at the bottom here. So I need this to flatten out a little bit more. So more towards the edges that you get, more needs to be, more heat you need to put. Wait, so you wipe it down with a dryer sheet? Why do you do that? Best way I can explain it is when you're dry shrinking, you need something in between the film and the glass in order just to get it to lay smoothly. And dryer sheets just happen to work well. People have been using them for a very long time. So there's like dry shrink prep, which is a tint specific product, but you could go to like a grocery store, get a dryer sheet, and then go start practicing on your own car. You don't need it. So like a lot of guys that are watching, like if you're just going to try it for the first time, chances are you didn't buy it. So you can just go use one of those. They'll be totally fine for you. But yeah, we prepped the window at the very beginning. So if you go back in this live stream, look for when we clean this back window, then we apply the tape, and then we use dryer sheet. So again, you don't even need the tape. I use the tape as a protector for the glass. So when I'm cutting on it, I'm not scoring the glass. If it's your own car, yeah, feel free to screw it up as much as you want. How do you know where to put the tape? I just literally line the inside edge of the tape up with the outside edge of the dot matrix. How long does it take you to cut out a windshield strip? It depends on the windshield. They can be, they're like a simple thing that can be kind of annoying because you're trying to line it up one side to the other, and there can be some weird obstructions. So like there's a lot of like ADAS, whatever, those little camera systems. This one would be a lot more simple to do. You just have this little guy right here. So I'd probably put a strip here, and I'd cut literally like I'd take the mirror off. I'd cut right around there, cut a little hole for the mirror, and then just right across here. They're pretty straightforward. But we'll add on a windshield strip for like $50. Might sound dumb as F, but you mean wipe it down with a dryer sheet, not put it behind the tint because the dryer sheets are small, or is there a bigger version? Oh! No, but so if you go back in the video, you'll see exactly what I do. So we clean off the glass, so you can take glass cleaner or soapy water, wipe off your window. And then what you do with the dryer sheet is you literally wet it, and you're smearing that dryer sheet all over the back window, like just the gross schmutz of the dryer sheet is the magical solution for tinting the back window. So you're not leaving a dryer sheet behind the film. It's really funny. Yeah, it's weird if you've never seen it before, but yeah, it's literally this. Like I'll wipe it off, and then I'll lightly spritz the back window. I'll spray my dryer sheet. I'll do this, suds it up, and then all over the back window. Literally, it should make that sound while you're applying it. You should. There's I don't know. Best I can explain some of this is like window tinting had this very like there weren't tools for tinting when tinting was born. There were just like a company made window film and was like, here, figure out how to install it. So then like people played around with heat shrinking and like made up all these techniques and figured out stuff that worked. And now we have it all easy because the cars got a little more simple to do, and people figured this out ahead of time. But a lot of the, like, you know, baby powder, Dawn dish soap, Johnson's baby shampoo, dryer sheets, all these things come from, like, they're cheap, easy to get supplies because that was what people were using. And they work. So that's where you just get into all the weird stuff like that. Like, why a dryer sheet? It's because there wasn't anything specific at the time and they work. Tinting's funny like that. Oh, this one doesn't have the cap. This one does. Does this cap come off? No, probably. So, there's like... We're going to scrub this one down pretty good. There's one little spot where it looked like they had a like a residential tag, and it almost looked like it shorted. Oh. Almost looked like it shorted the rear defroster line. We're just going to scrub it down a little better. We got that sticker we got to take off. I should have taken it off before, but it's way out of the dots, so take a little blade for that. Let's just do this while we're here. There we go. I scrape the defrosters off. Will the customer notice if I Sharpie them back on? I don't think they'll work. That's what they would probably notice if they do it all. Yep, no tools back in my 45 years ago. Yeah, Yeah, I'm sorry. You guys had it way more difficult. You guys had more unique vehicles too. Like a lot of things have gotten way easier compared to cars back then. Even in the early 90s, right? Like some people like will look at an older BMW and they'll be like, "Ah, that's too difficult." Well, back then, when you're talking about like a Cadillac Fleetwood, it's like, ugh. Way worse. Why did you scrape them? What? I didn't scrape them. Oh, shut up. We took off a sticker. What's the blue brush that they're using? Oh, so this is the Scrub It. This is by a company called Tri-Edge. I absolutely love their stuff. Sun Distributing, Tint Depot. You can find it there. So I thought this was like one of the dumbest tools to come out. I use this thing all the freaking time. It's got these little triangular, because Tri-Edge, triangular shaped pads, but having something firm and plastic to put behind while you're doing this, it gives you a lot more even pressure, and that little edge there helps you get into all these lower corners and stuff. I ripped off the Velcro strap because that's the only thing that's really dumb about it. I use them all the time though. They're great for cleaning. So I'll scrub it down, and then I'll usually use a clay bar for the actual defroster lines themselves. So it's really for like broad cleaning. Like razor blades for like glue. Clay bars are really good for like defroster lines and picking up little extra pieces. Scrub pads are still really good for like just overall scrubbing power. So they all kind of have their place. But they have two different types of pads. The blue or the tan. I think the blue are a little bit more aggressive, but they're all good and glass safe. What would you price difference between Geoshield's Pro Nano and Apex Tint? That's what I'm having a hard time figuring out. We do $450 for Pro Nano without a windshield. We're probably gonna do $700 to $750 for Apex. But I haven't even put it on my own car, which is one of those things that I just wanted to try out beforehand. But I'm assuming it's really good. I've looked at it. It looks really good. I just want to check it out first. Oh, that's a good tip. Okay. Somebody said they stopped using dryer sheets because they would get lots of little painful cuts from them. Yeah, so I use dryer sheets because I've been using them for a long time. They're not the safest thing. A product that you also might like, besides using the bar of soap, is called Dry Shrink Prep. That's specifically for dry shrinking, and it's a safe, healthy alternative to dryer sheets because, yeah, physically grabbing dryer sheets and smearing them over a back window isn't the smartest idea in the world. They're fine for like putting in the dryer with your clothes, but they're not intended for like just skin contact like that. So they just work really well. With Squeegee, this is the hybrid. This is probably the most expensive. This is the most expensive handled Squeegee, but it's probably the best. It's got two edges here, so it's got this one, and then it's got this one. So you can flip it around from a blue side to an orange side. I never realized dryer sheets were that dangerous. There's some articles and stuff about them. They're just such a staple. And it's like, it's one of those things where you know, they work really well. How bad are they really for you? You know what I mean? But then you start looking into articles and stuff like that. So I do like to put that disclaimer out there from time to time if the subject get brought up. But yeah. It's probably something I should not use. But they work really well. And it's the benefits of wet shrinking compared to dry. I have no idea. I like dry shrinking. No. Nope, I tint the same way off stream as I do on stream. I just did a full truck earlier. It looked an awful lot like these streams do. Just use a glove. Yeah, if you want to put a glove on before you use the dryer sheet, that's totally fine. I just then have to put a glove on. It's just an extra thing I have to do that I forget about. Maybe for Patreon then? No. Maybe no. I couldn't figure out what to do with Patreon. It's like, I appreciate everything that goes on here. I don't know. There's only so much I can do, and I didn't feel like there was anything extra for Patreon. We might start up a YouTube memberships thing, because okay, so as long as I'm good with being consistent about this, then I'd do it. There's those cars, like I had a Ram this morning, and we've streamed a Ram a bunch of times, but I wouldn't upload. There's certain things that just aren't super great for like uploading that would still be helpful. So if it's an interesting topic, if it's an interesting title, if it's an interesting thumbnail, then I'll focus a little bit more on posting it. But like, you know, if you just want to shrink, okay, so a good example is like vehicle specific stuff. The problem with vehicle specific is very few people are looking for it, so they just don't get a lot of traction, but they're still really helpful to the people that are looking for them. So putting stuff like that on like a Patreon or like a YouTube membership would probably be a better way to go. But I don't know. I'd want to be really consistent with it before I told people. I'm just worried I'd start it and then I'd stop posting to it and disappoint a bunch of people. Welcome to the tint world, where now that you got cut, we're tint blood brothers. If you get cut with a tint, like with the tint itself, a tint paper cut, man, they'll get you and they sting a little bit, but then they don't stop bleeding. How much would you charge for what? Oh, for the memberships? I don't know. But they do have little things like tint emojis. That's the thing. When you get like left wide open with like pricing, it's kind of hard to figure out what would be the best. What's training looking like in the future? Another thing that I gotta do. It looks like it's going to happen sooner. It just hasn't been officially planned yet. I swear. It's like there's so many of those things that I like, you know, when am I gonna do a tint keg giveaway? And then I have like glass aid logistic problems that I have to figure out. And then I have other things that I'm getting to, and then I have like, it's just there's so many things to do, and a lot of what I'm doing is going really well right now. So there's just a lot on the plate to do, so that's why it kind of gets put off. $2.99. If I'm gonna be uploading dedicated ones, it's gonna be a little bit more than that, but $2.99 wouldn't be disappointing if I missed. I don't know. Maybe, so there is this fun thing that I could do. I have to charge for a YouTube membership in order to do it. So I can have tint emojis in the live streams, but they're literally like YouTube locks it as a membership feature. So if I enable memberships, we could start with that and then just go from there. Is that squeegee that you used to clean the backlash still the Walmart one? Yup. Walmart, Meijer, maybe Menards. It's just wherever they have Libman cleaning supplies, which is like a lot of Walmarts and stuff. 20, 40, 60, 80. I could be any of those, but it more likely around the 20 range, I think. It's really hard to find some training with Geoshield. I'm in California, but willing to fly to the Tint Master. Yeah, I don't think Geo has any specific training. You could train with like any school and learn the same stuff that you don't have to do with anything specific to Geo. But yeah, training opportunities are a little harder to come by too. Dang. This looks good. All right, we're gonna do just a little bit of touch up. And then, hopefully we didn't kill it. I forgot we had the key plugged in there. We're just gonna put it back on. Anyways, we're gonna do a little bit of touch up, wipe this down, and then we'll be all set. I don't want to have them waiting too long. We took a little bit longer to get started, but we're falling right within our guidelines as far as like estimated time, which is good. Oh, we should probably take care of that guy too. What was that? I learned from DigiCut and had a mentor with 20 plus years experience. I've been learning from Matt for the last couple of years or so. Very cool. This is training. This is everyday training. It's just not in-person, hands-on training. What do you think of the XPEL Easy Tint for a beginning tinter? I think the earlier that you learn to use something like that, the more helpful it'll be to you versus me. I wish it was like a little thinner. I don't know. So they know more about it. They know way more about it than I do. Oh, there's the shank. Look at that. Now we have two. They know way more cars that it's totally fine with than I then I would know. What I didn't like about it was when you're putting it in a seal, it's kind of bulk. Oh, there. What did somebody say? Where's the shank? Oh, that one's half on, half off. Oh, look, it's gone. It's in the green ether. Anyways, when you're trying to tuck into a seal, a seal like this would be totally fine. It's a little bit looser. You can get more stuff down there. I would have no problem putting that tool in here, and it'd give you a good amount of help. But the tighter the seal is, like there's some that are super thin. So getting a tool like that in there, pressed up against the glass, I don't feel super comfortable with, but I'd talk to them about it. I would just ask them the question, like, are these okay to use on like VW and Audi? Like, would you use something like that? Or would you pull out the seals or remove the panels instead of use that tool? Or just posting in the group. I mean, this is my tucking tool. This is what I use on everything. I didn't come out with it, but like that's my go-to tucking tool, the shank. But something that gives you a little bit more wider of a base to pull back the seal will give you a little bit of an easier time. But I didn't learn that way. Sweet. All right. I'm gonna try and start it. Is it dead? Oh, we're good. We are way good. Sweet. I was worried for a second that it was completely dead, but I think we've been good. Awesome. This is about as dirty as my hands get on a car. Whenever you have to touch the engine bay, that's when everything, it's like, ugh. I'm not a mechanic anymore. Would you recommend 50 or 75 for a full windshield? It depends on you. I like 50 better than 70, but I like having that little bit of privacy shade to it. I think it looks better. But 70 is really for like the look of, I don't want my windshield to look tinted, but I want heat rejection. That's what 70 is really good for. Oh, did we miss? Did we miss that? Oh, dang. That was kind of a big one to miss. It's a little late to push, too. Whew. That was scary. I just saw a bigger air pocket somewhere where I didn't want there to be an air pocket, so it was a little sketchy, but we got it. Neat. Any longer than that, and you'd be smearing glue. Okay. Privacy is important, but also avoiding tickets. Well, aye. Cannon. No, there was an air pocket in the water. Having a little water pocket's not that big of a deal, but having the air in there.
Daniel Rayner super chatted $4.99. Math be nice if someone
Daniel
made a shank
Rayner.
a little stiffer / harder.
Danny Reno with the 5. Be nice if someone made the shank a little stiffer. If you get the white one. Sun Distributing sells those. Sun Distributing. Yeah, get the white ones. You'll like the white ones better then. These ones, they're a little bit on the softer side for sure, but there's only so much that I can do. They're green though. The white ones are definitely probably more to your liking. I haven't broke one of those, though. I've never broken one, which is just, I don't know. I've seen some pictures, but... At work, love the vids. This sucks. Oh, dang. Oh, that's great. Love you, Rich. This shop sucks. Uses Lexan, slowly stealing clients. Dang. Nice. Yeah, so we're going to shout out some super chats here, but the difference between 70 and 50, yeah, you can tell that it's tinted, but I wouldn't really be concerned with it near as much, especially if you keep the front a little bit lighter. So I have like 35 on the front doors, 50 on the windshield. When I had like 35 on the front doors and 20 or 35 on the windshield and 20 on the front doors, that's when I was a little bit like, ew. But if you want to be like completely confident, then just 70%. All right, so we're going to shout out some super chats, and then I can deliver this car for this guy who's been very patient. So big thank you to Daniel, T-Jet, Frouch Saft, I'm sorry. Thank you. LKB, Obed, and T-Jet. Thank you guys all for the support. Greatly appreciate it. I'd be able to hang out just a little bit more, but open admission, dang dude, you have what about the shanks? Oh, I don't care. There's differences between some of the tools. I mean, what I sell is more of the like good enough variety. There's everything in there I would use, but there's just the more pro stuff that works a little bit better.
Daniel Rayner super chatted $4.99. More stiffer than the white.
Daniel with another 5, more stiffer than the whites. They're palette knives. I'd just start Googling palette knives vigorously. Maybe you'll find something. I haven't seen them better than that though, because there's a couple of other things to take into consideration. The very edge of it needs to be really slim, or else if it's a little blunted, it's not going to go into that seal. So keep that in mind. But yeah, the white one's about as good as it gets that I've seen. Kevin with a 10. Thank you, sir.
Kevin Gary Bay super chatted $9.99.
Like that steam machine. Thank you. I do too. They're fun. Thank you so much for the 10. I found that out, and I can just go to Michael's if I'm in a pinch. Yeah, you can find them, I think, in like the art section at Walmart and stuff. But they're all kind of like a little different. Some of them are okay, and some of them aren't. So it's good that they're available in tint stores, just because like trying to tell everybody what they are it's just been a nightmare. Tint green tools are always better than any other color. I like the green ones too. They're special to this place right here, so it's fun. All right, well I gotta cut out of here. It is Thursday. It's Thursday, so we'll be back actually tomorrow morning. We have a 22 BMW M3, so that one's gonna be a pretty special stream. We're just doing all the sides in the back, but we're gonna be doing it in ceramic, so be excited for that one. I will see you guys tomorrow morning, and in the meantime, have a good one, tint some windows, and I'll see you in the morning. Goodbye.